Though I am a professional driver, I am not a certified driver's education teacher. My goal is to share my experience and hopefully put safer drivers on the road with me. However, I'm only human, and your decisions are ultimately your own. Blue Forge Films, The Road to Safety, and me, Ty Smith, cannot be held liable for your own actions. Take responsibility and be safe.
First of all, I'm a professional driver, not a professional handwriter, so that's why it's all chicken scratch up here. But it's good enough to the point where you can actually see it. So the first episode I want to talk to you guys about is Rules of the Road, or Guys and Gals, which is vehicle registration, legality, and insurance. So you found the vehicle of your dreams. You got that Mustang or your Lexus, or like if you're just starting out, your Honda Civic. Where do you go right after you give the guy the cash and sign the papers? Directly to the DMV. Why I say this is that after you sign the paper over and the bill of sale and whatnot, you need to get to the DMV within 15 days, or else you will be penalized to get the car title actually transferred over. And once you get the car title, you will get a new set of license plates that you need to put on your car immediately, and you will get a new registration. The registration is what you keep in the car at all times. That is your proof that yes, this is your vehicle, but your little golden ticket of ownership of the vehicle comes in what it's called a title. And the title will be mailed to your home address. You need to keep this title in your house in a safe place at all times. You do not put it in the glove box with your registration. What if somebody takes your car? Well, the title, it has sign over of ownership. That's where you lose all legal interest in the vehicle. It is super easy for people nowadays to forge signatures. It's nuts. Play it safe and smart and keep your title at home. Now, the next thing I want to talk to you about is insurance. I know we all think it's highway robbery, especially with young drivers. Me personally, I pay around $250 a month just to drive my car around, or cars around, because I've got a car and pickup truck. But it is an important thing to have. The reason why is because what happens if somebody dings it, or if you run into a telephone pole, or if you get injured in an accident. You need to have that sort of backup. So, the basic insurance policy that everybody needs to have is liability. You need to have liability with your vehicle if you want to legally drive it in Washington State. And I'm not the perfect speller, but you understand what I mean. Now, it is a hefty fine to be driving around without this little honey with you. Because, like, if you run into somebody and you total out their car and you don't have liability, they're screwed. They're out of a car. And their only recourse is to sue you. And that's not exactly the best thing to ever happen if you are hard up on cash. The next thing is personal injury protection, or PIP for short. What PIP is that what if like somebody hits you, or if you hit something, or like go into the ditch or something and end up hurting yourself. PIP actually covers your medical bills up to a certain amount, but it's a good help to have if, say, the worst case scenario happens. Then there's comprehensive. I'm just gonna put down comp. And what comprehensive insurance is that if something happens to your vehicle that is totally not your fault, like a tree falls on it, or somebody hits your car and takes off in the parking lot, and you come back to your car and you're like, my bumper's on the ground, that would be a comprehensive claim. It's not necessary, neither with PIP, but they are two good things to have if that is your only vehicle. Next thing is collision. Collision is another important policy to have if, like, say you need your car no matter what. Say if you accidentally bend up your own car. After you pay your deductible, which could be anywhere from the range of $500 up to, say, $2,000. After you pay that deductible, the insurance will pick up the bill for the rest, which is very much important. I know this from experience. Say you're driving down the road, or down the highway, and somebody rear-ends you. That's bad. But as long as you have a collision, at least your insurance will take care of it like that, instead of waiting for the other guy's insurance to come through. But what happens, the other guy does not have insurance. What if you didn't do anything wrong, but somebody sideswipes you and totals out your car? Then you should get uninsured motorist. So what an uninsured motorist means is that if somebody hits you who is driving illegally in the state of Washington because they do not have liability, you are still covered by your insurance policy, because your only recourse if you do not have uninsured motorist is suing the other party. And if they usually don't have insurance, it's like trying to bleed a rock. The last part in this point that I want to discuss is your vehicle legality. What I mean by that is, do you have good tread on your tires? Are all of your lights working, your tail lights, your headlights, your turn signals? All of them need to be operational and functioning. Also, with license plates, I know that they can be a little bit of an eyesore if you have, say, a really pretty car like a Ferrari or a Mustang or whatever. But you, at least in the state of Washington, you have to have a front plate. If you do not have a front plate, you will be pulled over. One last thing is vehicle tabs. Now what tabs are is pretty much your vehicle taxes, because, you know, everybody has to pay Uncle Sam. It's a necessary evil, but say if you drive around with expired tabs, sorry bucko, you're getting pulled over. And you will be charged a fine for driving with expired tabs. The next point I want to talk about is seatbelts. Use them. Pretty straightforward. It'll only take 5 seconds to hook and unhook a seatbelt. And I mean, for something that takes about 5 seconds, it'll save your life. I mean, literally, if you do not use seatbelts, you are 47 times more likely to die in a vehicle accident. And I'm not talking about fender bender, oops. I'm talking about like you hit a median and the car's rolling over. Or say if you go from 60 miles an hour to 0 miles per hour, suddenly you might be ejected from the vehicle, which is a bad deal. When you're in a vehicle and it's crashing, tumbling, rolling, whatever, being in that car or truck is the safest place to be, because at least you have metal surrounding you and protecting you. If you get ejected and if you just hit flat ground, you'll be lucky. Or like, what if like you're partially outside of it and the car comes back down? That's pretty much lights out. Also, if a cop sees you driving without wearing your seatbelt, you will be pulled over and you will have a seatbelt violation put on your license. Every single violation that you get on your license is points on your license. You do not want the high score. You really don't. The more points you have, the closer you are to either license suspension or license expulsion. So, just takes 5 seconds, but please use them. The next point I'd like to talk to everybody about is the reasons behind speed limits. Believe it or not, this is here for your safety. I know that everybody has, like, you know, the need for speed, and they're like the popular song, I Can't Drive 55, but you probably should listen to this, because what the speed limit is for is pretty much so that all the cars on the freeway is moving at relatively the same speed. And when all the vehicles are moving at relatively safe speed, that means fewer chances of vehicle incursions. And the less chance of vehicle incursion, the less chance of an accident happening. Like you're driving down the road at 55 and somebody else in, say, a white BMW is doing like 65, 75 because they're listening to the radio and they're not really paying attention to what's going on. So what they do is that you're just driving along, and if the guy sees you last minute, then he's gonna try to snake around you or just not understand what's going on and practically hit you. And that's not a fun thing to do. The other important thing for speed limits is not just for the freeway, but for sort of in-town or country roads. For country roads, the speed limit is more of a, say you're in like, you know, a small little zippy sedan. You can probably do this no problem. But for a bigger vehicle, say like an SUV or like a semi-tractor trailer, this may be pushing it. And there's also little yellow signs like around corners and bends, or like say the freeway off-ramp of sort of the recommended speed. Like, so you can go through it faster than the recommended speeds or the yellow speed limit sign. But like, say if you have an accident on that little stretch of road, you will get a ticket for too fast for road conditions because that sign was posted. So this is sort of what I'm talking about right here. not the best sketch artist, so I apologize, but imagine this is say you're in a smaller zippy car. This would be fine, or you could probably go just a little bit faster and stick to the road and whatnot. But this also means that you can take the corner at this speed and dry road conditions, wet road conditions, just any road condition there is besides, sleet, snow, ice. This is probably a safe speed to go. But if you run into those hazardous road conditions, you should probably, say, take it a bit slower, 5 to 10 miles per hour slower. Or if you're driving a vehicle that's really top heavy, like I know most of you will probably not be driving cement mixers, but for the sake of argument, if you are driving a cement mixer, even though it's on a nice hot summer day, you should probably take it about 5 to 10 miles per hour slower because it is so damn top heavy. So, what do you do if you have the need for speed? Take it to the racetrack. The reason why I say that is that it is all too common for people to, get into street races on the road because they watch Fast and Furious one too many times. But I can tell you from at least observing some of these, because I've been in road situations where two people just zoom by me, is that racing on the public roads is nothing but dumb and stupid and probably will either kill you or get you into some serious trouble. Say if you do it once or twice and you're like, oh, I'm a driving god, and you keep on going at it, one of these days it'll come back to bite you. It's just not safe and smart to do it, because if you're trying to sneak along past traffic at say 100 miles an hour, what happens if you upset the balance of the car and kick the rear end out? What happens then? Or say you're driving past the limits of the car and you end up on uneven terrain, or there's imperfections in the road, because that does happen. All of a sudden it upsets the balance of the car and you're screwed. Or say for instance that people are just racing down the highway. Then what happens if they run into stop traffic up ahead? All of a sudden they realize this too late and plow into somebody from behind. That's not good, and it happens all too often. Or say for instance you're driving fast down the road and somebody's just driving like normal, and they don't see you coming and they decide to merge over to the other lane or whatever, and they merge right in front of you. Do you have the brakes to stop, or are you gonna swerve and try to outmaneuver it? It's not a smart situation to get into. You might get lucky, you might not. I'm not saying it's an impossible one, but I'm saying just stay out of that situation as best as possible. If you do want to go racing, go to a racetrack. Racetracks are actually a lot more fun to go fast on than the highways. Racetracks are set for optimum traction for asphalt and cement, and any imperfections is immediately fixed. And to say if you make a mistake, you're in a safe place to do so, and you won't bend up your car too bad, or yourself. Well, that's about it for this episode, so thank you very much for joining in, and I hope to see you next time.